what will not fall under. The city administration, let us quickly run through this. So registrations, all the companies are expected to go for registration. Registrations are already been open for LLC companies and public joint companies. Registration will happen online, and there is no minimum threshold mentioned for registration purpose. Any company and every company should be registered for this, unless your company is exempted specifically by the law from registration and compliance. How are we going to file our corporate tax returns? It will be filed online, electronically, like we do in that case. And they have given 9 months period after the end of the financial year. There is no quarterly filing to be done. The payment of the tax liability should be paid within that 9 months itself. And it's only one tax return will be filed by the company for taxable person. This is a template that we arrived to, a corporate tax return template based on the provision that we already have. But the important thing to look at here is that we take accounting profit as a basis and then make adjustments by considering the laws or rules of corporate tax law. Then arrive to your taxable income. When you make adjustments, you will look at these donations or expenses which are not allowed to be deducted, incomes that are not subject to tax, because these were already been considered for your books of accounts. Now we have to make adjustment to arrive to your taxable income. Then you compute tax payable amount on the taxable income by considering the rate of 0%, 9% or whatever it is. Then you make adjustments with respect to other benefits of tax, like withholding tax, foreign tax credit, or any other relief that you have. Then you'll arrive to the net tax to be paid. They have not given the form of the corporate tax return yet, but we just prepared it based on the provisions available in the law. These are a few important areas to be looked at when you go for your tax planning. Review your corporate structure or group structure, and make sure that you are having the right structure to be able to have the tax optimization status by considering the rules of the law. You also need to look at your fusion entities and make sure that are you complying with those conditions mentioned to get 0% tax or not. And also review your group structure from the point of view of whether you want to have or treat any entity as a standalone and not to mix as a group entity or tax group. Do you want to have more than one groups so that you will get a tax benefit within the purview of the laws of the corporate tax? But you can plan with this. And you have to identify your transactions with related parties and also payments to the connected persons. So far, we are not looking at that so seriously. You may not even realize that there is a transaction with related party unless you look at your transactions with this objective. So you identify related parties, identify the payments that you make to your connected persons, make sure that you do the benchmarking for those transactions. You have transfer pricing policy, and you have corrections to be made to your transactions with related parties and connected persons. If you want any help in this, we have a specialized team who can work on this and help you on benchmarking, prepare the policy, and comply with the requirements of corporate tax law in terms of submission of additional documentation for transfer pricing requirements. You also need to look at your income and see if you have any exempt income to be adjusted. You look at your cash flow effect because of corporate tax law, profitability and debt equity ratios if you have any facilities from banks. How are they impacted because of corporate tax law being there? So you need to look at all these things. You also can work on your financials and do a mock test, market assessment, and see what is the impact of the corporate tax law on your cash flows, profits. You have to come up with any other strategies to be able to accommodate that. All those things you have to look at. And look at your chart of accounts, changes to your systems, and your IT should work on this if you need to have any changes in your system. Review your expenses of deductible and non-deductible expenses. Also look at your non-residents and then make sure that whether they will have permanent establishment here or not. Also look at your POM, permanent place of effective management happening from outside. Or for your foreign entities, you are managing effectively from here. Will that be subject to tax in UAE or not is what you have to look at. There are various areas like this you have to look at and make sure that you're complying with that or be ready with compliance. You also can have a training to your company team. If any of your company wants exclusive training for your team or for your company, for your group, you can also conduct those trainings. We do those trainings also.